Good evening and welcome to the We Are Rise show. I'm your host, Brett C. Collins. How's everybody doing out there on this wonderful Friday? I can't wait for it to snow here in Northwest Florida. I mean, I hope it snows. I want it so cold it's like I'm freezing my balls off. Really, I'm so sick of the heat. We've had 8 months of hot weather. I'm just done with it. I really am. I need a change. I need to feel the season. I need to feel Thanksgiving, my favorite holiday of the year that's non-religious. I need to have that. I hope everybody's in agreement with that. And I like to celebrate Thanksgiving. I know a lot of people like to move right to Christmas from Halloween. Yeah, that's great and stuff. But you know what? Not me. All right. I like to enjoy that time. It's my favorite holiday of the year for a lot of different reasons. Let's welcome my co-host, Marshall Smith. What's up, buddy? How you doing?
You could always hang around a few snowbirds. You might feel a little,
Yeah, those wonderful people. Yeah.
Fucking assholes.
Oh yeah, I know. Come here.
And I think we're going to be getting
Brad. We're
more.
expecting snow. Yeah, I might. I know my wife has friends in Ohio, or like they're on the border there with Michigan and Ohio. I forget that area it's called. What's that?
You're not going to get snow over there. You're on the Gulf.
No, I know.
God,
maybe a UFO will fly over and drop some snow. That would be great. Oh, that's fantastic.
Chemtrails. Fly with the chemtrails for you.
Yeah, I know. Just the embers that turn into snow. Welcome in pill.net. Hello, Rumble. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, we are on YouTube. We've been on there for a couple of weeks. You can go over there. It's free. You can subscribe, check it out. Let me know how it is. We'll see your comments over there. And, just let me know how it's going and stuff. I mean, I think it's good that we added it in just case, certain platforms go down like they normally do. We know that there's a lot of things that are happening right now. Yeah, I saw you would, USA. Yeah, someone dropped 2 blue pills right now. So the crazies are out. So they're losing their mind. So just, be careful, mind yourself and stuff. We'll probably see them in the chat tonight and we'll get to that. So tonight's show.
The FBI guy.
Yeah, the FBI. Yeah, there's always someone lurking in there that we don't know. So they'll pop up. They'll show who they are. I already have these
from January
people
6th.
Blocked. Oh, yeah, I know. Tonight's
name?
show, take an Uber. Take an Uber. Yes, take an Uber because you're not going to be flying the friendly skies. Come and fly with me. I play the Sinatra song, but we're on YouTube, and we have copyright laws, so I can't play it. I was going to play a little intro, but not going to do it. Non-hazardous powder at Joint Base Andrews, non-hazardous, but people still got sick. We'll discuss that. Midterm loss equals MAGA prison, according to Bannon. I think that's a harbinger. That's a prelude. Is that a portent, an indicator after what he's saying? Maybe people need to get ready. Maybe start not tucking their tails and run. Maybe Thune has to do something. And there's so much more we're going to cover and stuff. We're going to give an update about the pipe bomber. Apparently, he's a she, and it looks like they know who this person is. The question is, why for so many years they knew this and they haven't released this? Something to think about as we move forward. Let's welcome pill.net and everybody out there. Darla L., yes, good to see you. Hope you're feeling well. My prayers and thoughts are with you about your fur baby. Would USA donating 117 gold pills. Let's see who else is here. Trump won. Thank you for the cookie. I appreciate it. Who else is here? Alphabet Omega Pill. What's up? How you doing? Patty B, welcome in. Good to see everybody over here. Trusty Turnup, how you doing? How's everybody doing? Welcome in. Sausage Launcher. Whoa, I haven't seen you in a long time. How you feeling? How's everything going for you? True Terran, what's up? I see you, Darla, over there. Greetings, salutations, and we're also on YouTube. If you want to know when we get when the show goes on, please hit the bell to be notified. Drop us a red pill to show your support if you like it. If you want to help out and donate, tip to the show, you can drop us a gold pill. You could support us over on Rumble with the Rumble Rant, or you can help out MarshallKofi.com, SurfDog74. I want to get into some of the breaking news. Marshall sent me this, but I got something else. This is about the shutdown because this leads into our discussion tonight. John Thune basically says the government shutdown deal close. We've given them everything they asked for. So why are you giving them everything they asked for to open up the government and not utilizing the filibuster as President Trump has said? Breaking, Senator Thune has just said the Senate is likely to stay for the weekend. Oh, that's great. Look like you're doing something. Hell, you're getting paid anyway while everybody else is not. We've given them everything they asked for. Just nuke the filibuster. Easy. Is that what's going to happen? We have the power to end this immediately. Nuke the filibuster. What a pathetic man. Implement MAGA as a lightning pace. Yeah, They don't. They're slow walking this for a reason. They are doing this purposely to hurt President Trump, to basically what? Disrupt, interrupt the 2026 midterm election if we're going to have one. And I say if, for a lot of reasons. But I'm telling you right now, from this standpoint, they are doing this for a reason, because they are not MAGA. They don't like Trump, and they want to hurt him, his base, and they want to go back to square one, let the Democrats take over, win the midterms, impeach President Trump on January 1st of 2027 as the midterm moves through, and they take over the House. And then what? They implement the filibuster and nix that, and there you go. It's game on. We're all going to be arrested again. Am I foreshadowing? Is it a harbinger? Is it just crazy to think? Well, it's not crazy to think when you think that these people should be doing their job, unless, hear me out, unless they are being held back for a reason. There's a hidden hand behind all this that's controlling them. Okay? All this stuff is what? Theatrical. They're not really in control. They probably shouldn't even be there. They're all what? Illegal, because of all the stolen elections. How many of them won their elections fair and square, like we just saw on Tuesday? And I'm not saying allegedly anymore. We know it's true. We know it's real. Anyway, John Thune is going ballistic on the Democrat Senate floor. All theatrical masterpiece, all performative. This begs the question, why not just nuke the filibuster? I'm not going to play it. I don't want to hear this guy. I can't stand this guy. This guy was a never Trumper. Do you understand that? And we're supposed to believe, Marshall, in any way, he really is working at the behest, okay, of President Trump, and not the groupthink of the old guard Republican Party, the war pig Republican Party, the party of Levin, the party of, I could say many others out there, Lady Graham, Ted Cruz. All these people are blowhards. You can't trust them. What's the point of dealing with them anymore? I think it's all has to come to an end. It all has to implode. We have to see it all self-immolate at one falling swoop, so to speak. The left and the right, all of it, both ends of the wrong stick of this free bird that is ending, that is basically corrupted and captured our government and holds us hostage all the time. So again, I'll ask you the question, Marshall. Are we being held hostage by the Democrats? Because we know we can nuke the super minority majority that always takes place, always takes control in some way. Why do we have to give them anything? What is it that they have to get in order for us to open the government? Why is it they're so unwilling to do this? Why are they so scared when everybody knows they gain power, it's game over?
They're not. The Republicans aren't scared of anything because it's all deliberate. Everything they're doing is deliberate. These people do not have our concerns in mind. They don't give a shit. They could care less about Trump. You just said he's a rhino, which he is. I can't stand this guy. He looks like he looks like a rhino with the plastic Ken doll hair.
Yeah.
It's all like fucking. He looks exactly like a politician. Should look typical. So
football captain of the high school basketball team looks like a douche, just older. Yeah, I can't stand these people in general. But look, let's be clear. They don't have yours and mine. Let's just say they don't have anything to do with our reality. They're so removed from understanding who we are. They pretend to think that they care and support us and love us and do everything they can to pass it. If they did, it would automatically be done. You would see it right now. But they let this go on for a long time, linger out there. And I believe there's a reason why. And I think it's far more, let's just say, impactful than we're understanding at the moment. But I will say this, though. Whatever happens this weekend will give way to understanding what will take place next year. Holy crap, subpoenas have just went out in Florida. Marshall sent it to me. It's sending shockwaves through D.C. It comes from Gunther Eaglin. Out of the up to 30 cent, the ones that will make people like Adam Schiff have sleepless nights are John Brennan, Lisa Page, and Peter Strzok. Oh, wow. These are big names.
CIA Director John Brennan, former FBI officials Peter Strzok and Lisa Page, as well as others. It is part of the Justice Department's investigation into the origins of the Trump-Russia probe. Sources say the trio were served with federal subpoenas today. Law enforcement sources also say up to 30 subpoenas will be issued in the coming days related to this investigation. We'll follow that. Tonight, too, New Jersey.
That's fantastic. I mean, two of our favorite people from the first term regarding the Russiagate thing. And then you got John Brennan, where Roger Stone has said that he's already fled. He's already gone. He's dipped out. And that what is it, MSNBC or CNN, one of them work for him, builds a studio for him. So when he comes on, it appears that he's local. Roger Stone has put it out that that he's not here. And I heard this back in March. I heard this back in May. And Roger Stone said it recently, that he is not in the country. He has already fled.
Who was that again?
Roger Stone. Roger Stone said.
Who fled?
John Brennan. That's what it's been intimated, that he's already been gone. He's been gone a while. And Stone put that out today. I saw that. Now, I don't know how old it is. Months, this month, several months. I saw articles in March and May and up in September. So he might have been gone for a while. And we're just seeing him in the studios that were being built. And some people say he's in Australia, most likely, or Austria. And I'm like, why would you be in Austria? Australia would be the predominant place you'd want to be. All right, moving on. Starting with tonight's show, taking Uber. I just want to be clear about understanding what's going on. We have Thanksgiving in a couple of weeks. This has never been, I think we haven't seen anything like this since 9/11. But what I'm saying is 9/11, the traffic was shut down. Air traffic control was shut down. Flights were canceled. Trains were canceled. Any mode of transportation outside your own motor vehicle was shut down. But look at this. We're seeing a cutback, and we're going to get into this. Flight cancellations all over the place. Hundreds of flights canceled. CNN video reveals nightmare for an airline traveler who was told to take an Uber. You're probably going to hear more about this. CNN revealed this morning a nightmare experience a traveler is having at the airport. You're going to hear about this more, and it's going to be in your face. You should be angry and pissed off about this and how disgusting this is. And they're purposely, and we're going to go into why. Because, some people say, well, it's a conspiracy theory. I'm not going to get into that, but I do have my unsettling thoughts about what I feel about what's taking place, Marshall. CNN revealed this morning this nightmare experience. Let's play this.
This morning, I want you to listen to this one person that we spoke to. She talked about the nightmare she dealt with last night and then again this morning.
In the middle of the night, Air Canada just canceled my trip. They rebooked me, but I woke up to get to Newark, New Jersey, and I'm in an Uber. As soon as I step into the Uber, I pull up the new itinerary. You're not anticipating to be rebooked all the way at JFK. An hour earlier than the flight I was on.
Wow.
So what are you going to do?
I'm renting a car. I have to be back in Utah by Tuesday. And from what I hear with the counters, the airline counters and TSA, they literally said to me, if I were you, I wouldn't travel over the next 3 days. So.
And who said that to you?
People at the TSA.
The TSA are saying, now here's the thing. Now, that is an ominous warning. That's an indicator, a harbinger, maybe a precursor to just say, look, don't travel because of the flight delays and what's going on with the shutdown. Or is it something else? That's where I'm going with this. And that's why I want you to see this, because we're going to talk about that.
I see.
Clear and the counters, the airline counters, because I think it's going to get worse.
This
It's
morning,
going to get worse. It's going to get worse because why? Marshall, why is it going to get worse? Is it just because of this per se, or is it something more to that? Let me ask you a question. The airline scuttling, as we're calling it, the scurry, the scramble, the tussle that's taking place. What if this was purposely designed to limit the potential of false flags and potential terrorist attacks under the guise of a government shutdown, whereby antiquated and outdated air traffic control systems that could be hacked systematically, that are outdated to the 80s, are completely vulnerable for this scenario? Is this one of the reasons, and that the shutdown is just a cover for what we're understanding right now?
That's a good idea because
What do you mean it's a good idea? You mean it's a
well,
good idea if it's true?
yes, because
Okay.
I mean, the one that made the decision is the FAA and Duffy.
Right.
So Duffy probably knows he probably got in there and saw everything, took a look at all of it, and probably said, man, we're gonna have a problem.
Mhm.
We're gonna have some serious accidents coming up. And even Delta, No, you got it. There it
No,
is.
no,
That's
no.
what
Just
I-
continue because Reagan Airport was shut down. Both, I think,
Yeah,
Reagan
domestic
Airport and
flights
the
are-
other airport was shut down. I don't know if it's temporarily shut down or potentially shut down for the near future, but that's where we're going with this. But go ahead.
the whole system we have is so old.
Mhm.
And Duffy, I'm sure, well, he knows it by now because he's been there for a while.
Right.
And so they're like, he probably told President, look, I'm going to have to do this because we don't want to have this happen on your watch,
Right.
or nobody does. So I think that is very, very reasonable to think that, especially Thanksgiving. My God,
Yeah.
Thanksgiving,
Mhm.
please
Yeah.
get a car, rent a car. If you got to fly domestic, don't do it.
Right.
Just
Listen,
don't do it.
yeah. And internationally, good luck. Good luck with that.
Well,
And
international, they'll be okay, I think, because they're prioritizing them.
I guess we'll get into that. Thank you, Sausage Launcher. I want to say, yeah, I'm doing so much better. I think everything is
Still
leveled
wouldn't
out.
fly though.
I have to have surgery on my carpal tunnel syndrome. Oh, well, I wish you the best. I'm sorry to hear that you're still, a lot of people are still not feeling well or doing well and stuff. So I wish you the best. Good question. I didn't know they were the government until this. Well, yeah, I mean, that's the point and stuff. Thank you, Trump one for the cookie. And Wood USA donating 117 gold pills. Thank you so much. Like, share, and subscribe. If you want to help out the show, you can drop us a gold pill or a Rumble rant, or you can help out marshallko5.com/surfdog74 over here on Rumble. What's up, True Terran? Maxo says, how did they take that money they need for war, the Ukraine war? No approval, but they can shut down the government. Really does look like the uniparty were getting played. In some aspects, yeah. But at the other aspect that I'm discussing this is I'm showing you that there might be a hidden hand behind there. And I'm not saying a hidden hand that's so nefarious, so ominous, that has obviously its tentacles in it to collapse it. There might be a reason, like Marshall said, that the Secretary of Transportation, this has been flagged and this was scheduled for this reasoning. Delta flight attendant exposes the government shutdown. Right now, our approach is day to day. The FAA is asking every airline for a 10% reduction in flights to the top 40 markets in the U.S. for Delta. That's roughly 540 flights. Wow, listen to this.
Is a day by day, the day before, we will cancel a flight as long as the government requires us to. Right now, the FAA is asking every airline a 10% reduction in flights to the top 40 markets in the United States. For Delta on a weekday, for all my stat fans.
Have you ever heard this being on a plane? I've never seen anything like this. This reminds me of 9/11, where everything was shut down and they had these regular transmissions on planes and stuff thereafter. They scared the bejesus out of people that were coming back to flying in some way. But we haven't had any of this in a long time, where they're scaling back the flights, the airlines, everything. Listen to what they're saying. We're going to cover it more.
That's roughly 540 flights a day if we have to. It is entirely up to the FAA at this point.
Up to the FAA.
When and how many flights they will tell us to cancel. But right now, they're shooting for a 10% reduction in operations on a daily basis. That starts effective tomorrow morning. Right now, I can tell you the priority is all international flights. International flights will leave on time and as scheduled. Delta is not messing with those. Those are the priority. The next flights that Delta will focus on not having to cancel are any flights that go through a major Delta hub. So any flight going through Atlanta, New York, Detroit, Minnie, Seattle, Salt Lake, LA, those flights are also a priority. Anything else, such as the Delta Connection flight, a flight that does not go through a major hub, all those are fair game to be canceled. Delta will announce a cancellation and let you know the day before, if at all possible. It will offer you rebooking options in the Fly Delta app, or it will offer you a full refund, as is mandated by the government in this case, if you so choose, for any portion of your itinerary that's canceled. If you do opt for a refund, it will process it for you right there immediately in the Fly Delta app. Certainly, this is all a big inconvenience. We're doing the best we can. We don't have any control over it. Here at Delta, we're kind of rolling with what the government tells us we can and can't do right now until Congress comes back to Washington and votes to reopen and fund the government. Appreciate everybody's understanding and patience with that. And we thank you, as always, for choosing Delta Airlines.
I never heard anything like that from a flight attendant making those type of statements to people on an actual flight. I think that's extraordinary, and I think there's more to this. Yeah, I saw it's possible that AI is going to take over air traffic control. It might be possible, and maybe this is part of the implementation, that the shutdown is happening so they can make the changeover. It's a good point. It's possible. But I also think there are other things that we have to consider. We shouldn't just leave A, B, and C out. We have to throw so many darts at the wall to figure out this is so much more than just flight control and people showing up drunk or people not getting paid or not showing up at all. I mean, yeah, an automated system and AI seems more realistic and balanced, but you need time to implement this, okay? And I think that's really what we're discussing. Curious Cat, thank you for the cookie. Welcome. And yes, I was on Thomas on True Reporting show yesterday. You can go back and watch it. It was fantastic. So I want to see if there's anybody on YouTube. If anybody's out there on YouTube, let me know. Just say hi and subscribe over there. Marshall, what is your thoughts?
Well, Alphabet, just don't call me Shirley. He said it reminds him of Airplane.
Exactly. It's a great analogy because this is totally like Airplane.
I have to give Delta. You know, when I was flying back when I lived in Mexico years ago, I always wanted Delta because Delta was rated as really the best American airline. It seems like they still are.
Business class, they were tops. We always, if we fly, it's always Delta. Because when we were in Palm Beach, we would leave from Palm Beach Airport, which was a great airport, by the way. So if you live in Palm Beach, you fly. I'd never fly out of Fort Lauderdale, which I call Fort Horrible. It is terrible. That airport is god awful. West Palm Beach Airport, fantastic. Fly to Atlanta, connect, because Delta you connect, and then it's Atlanta. That's where everything gets really hairy and stuff.
Main, yeah,
it's the main hub for Delta.
I give Delta.
I think American is Dallas or North Carolina. It's Charlotte.
I give Delta a lot of credit for doing that on the airline.
Well, what I'm saying is the fact that they're saying this and making this statement.
Oh yeah, I mean you don't hear that usually.
You don't hear that, so there's something else.
Or, right.
Get ready because it's going to be bumpy. U.S. orders airlines to consider 10% flights on 40 high-impact airports. U.S. DOT. Let me blow this up so people can see this. So this is incredible. This is absolutely incredible. So the total number of cancellations each day could reach 4,000. Cancellation gradually increased from 4% to 10% over 7 days. That's up to November 14th. Amid the ongoing federal shutdown, the longest in history, the U.S. is ordering airlines to slash their schedules up to 10%, 40 high impact. The National Airspace System, air traffic controllers, and FAA employees supporting the NAS have been working without pay since the shutdown. The plan to reduce the number of allowed flights in major markets was just floated on Wednesday, November 5th. Look at this. And let me say this, though. I know President Trump and the administration are working to get off this government-funded subsidy that pays these people. I mean, but what private entity is going to buy into this? Okay? What private entity is going to be the security maintenance of all this? We need to remove ourselves from this, from the very reason and rationale of what we're seeing. The government should not be in business regulating the airlines like this. It shouldn't. They shouldn't be involved with paying these people in this matter. Private companies do a better job, better security, a better way of like moving the system forward, so to speak. And I think that this is an example of a realization of where the drop-off is, and then maybe a future scenario that the airlines or the actual, let's just say the administration, the air traffic controllers, all the government subsidies that are involved in this, the TSA, get rid of it. Get rid of it, Homeland. Get rid of it. Get private security, get private corporations to do this, and make sure you can allocate this without having to deal with this so we don't have to go through this nonsense. But I think we're here to see the pain. We're made to feel the pain. Closest to Thanksgiving, the number one biggest holiday trafficking, holiday transportation scenario of the year, where people just fly everywhere. I mean, it's nuts. A lot of people don't celebrate Thanksgiving. They go out of the country. They go Iceland. They go to the Bahamas. Look, this is not what our government should be maintaining and doing. The fact that we have to regulate and control this is problematic. And I think people are going to get tired of it. And this will be pushing the litmus test to change this. Look at the airports, Anchorage, Atlanta. These are massive hubs. Boston, Baltimore, Washington International, Charlotte, Douglas, Cincinnati, Kentucky, Dallas, Ronald Reagan. I think that was shut down. I don't know how long that's been shut down, if it's temporary still. Denver International, Dallas, Fort Worth. How do the cuts work? Airlines are being instructed to cut a graduated percentage of flights beginning in 7 November. Cuts are based totally daily scheduled domestic operations between 6 a.m. and 10 p.m. Local at each airport, airlines must cut the program by 6 Eastern Standard Time to November 7th. The reduction required increases 6% on 11 November, 8% on 13, and 10% on November 14th, which will probably be the greatest amount of traffic jams and, let's just say, cancellations thereof. Now, that's what, 10 days, 13 days? What is Thanksgiving on? Is it on the 27th this year? I'm not really sure. Let me know in the chat. How are the airlines impacted? All the big four are canceling most of the flights given relative size, but smaller airlines are operating. Some markets greatly impacted. The FAA's emergency order directs each of the 14 CFR parts 121 and commuter or scheduled 135 air carrier operating these airports. Wow. This is massive. Look at this. Most effective route is Phoenix and Denver, and 5 flights canceled on Friday. Look at these. Why should I? What should I do if my flight is booked at one of these airports? We recommend checking directly with your airline for the most update. You know what my attitude is this? Get an Uber, rent a car. Okay, seriously, rent a car. All right, and be your own transportation. Control your own life. That's why they wanted to what? Put all the stuff in the mileage and the destinations with the gas, with the electric cars and stuff, so they control and turn off your car for the carbon tax and all these things. This is the very reason you're seeing why we don't have the climate nonsense anymore or the carbon footprint anymore with these people, because they wanted to build into the cars to shut off if you reach a certain amount of mileage. I think right now is a great example of what could have been, what portends to be in the future if President Trump wasn't there. Think about this. We can have multiple planes crashing because of this. We'd have a massive shutdown. They could shut it all down like 9/11 because the system has come crashing down or it's been hacked. We just don't know. And again, I ask you the question, is it been so antiquated, okay, outdated, this air traffic control system, that the vulnerabilities to attacks are real and they're now? That's my thought.
Yeah, I mean, if you got to go somewhere, rent a decent vehicle, leave a couple days early.
Yeah.
You know, enjoy the trip, take a couple of little hotel stops or whatever,
Yeah.
and just do it that way. I mean, back in the day, Brett, when we were kids, flying was a luxury. That's when it was really classic.
I never flew. I hated flying.
Yeah, but it was nice. Now it's ghetto.
Yeah.
I mean, who the hell wants to go through that
I
shit?
was booked one time to go to a flight on a propeller plane, one of those DC, what do you call it?
DC-10.
I threw up the whole time. I got off the plane. Honestly, I was so white and disgusting, and I'm like, I need a shower, and I'm like, that's it. I'm like, I'm driving home. Screw that. And from that standpoint, I hate flying. I hate it. I hate the people on the flight. They're fat and overweight. They smell. I just don't like flying. I don't like to be cooped up. I'm claustrophobic. I don't even like being in a fucking goddamn elevator with more than like 7 people. Why do I want to be on some tin can that could be crushed in a second with all these smelly, disgusting? I hate flying with a passion.
You got to fight over the elbow rest in the middle.
Oh, it's
the
not
other
just
guy.
that.
The middle one, you got to fight over it.
And then you got to deal with some of these flight attendants that are just like with an attitude and stuff. The only flight that I can say I enjoyed thoroughly is when my wife and I went to St. Martin. Now, the experience in St. Martin could have been better. Actually, going to the other side, the French side was better, but I love this, or the Dutch side was better, even though it was very scantily dangerous. St. Martin was nice. The flight was fine. The flight home was great because I got sick over there, but the flight home was fantastic. I mean, everybody's great. And that's a 2.5-hour flight. And man, to get on a flight like that, it's long. If you're flying, over the continental U.S., that's one thing. 4 hours, that's fine. Flying over the ocean, you start to kind of lose your mind. I mean,
they got that high-speed ferry boat down in Miami.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, I mean, listen, I'm just not like, and I think right now, what I've been saying for the last week or two, this is why you need to be ready to protect yourself.
Yeah.
If you need to dip out for whatever reason, you need to be ready and prepared. And that has to do with what? Having a vehicle that you could put gas in, not plug in to the socket in the wall of your home, all right, to charge. It takes 5 hours, all right? What you need is an automobile to transport you to place, because these types of scenarios, all right, you can't count on it. You can't count on government subsidized airline air traffic controllers. The system is garbage. I could say that about Amtrak. I could say, look at all we forgot about how many trains just crash on a yearly basis, over 1,000. And that was just a couple of years ago. You notice you don't hear about that anymore. They just clean up the subways and it's better. But I think in some way right now, people need to keep reminded about with the holiday and the transportation and the transport. Laura Mom says, we Rise, some people have the worst BO. If you think U.S. Airlines are bad, don't fly Canadian or European. Some people don't even wear deodorant, okay? And I'm not even saying the natural. They just don't, okay? They just shower themselves with god-awful cologne and they don't bathe. So we know who those people are. Super D gifted the shades. Thank you so much. But aloha, Mom. Funny tonight. Okay, let's get into Pelosi. Yes, I was on Thomas's show last night. We did talk about this, but I want to get into the nepotism. I think the thing is what I was suggesting yesterday, which I do believe right now, is simply, is there something artificially built in that she thinks she owns the seat? She's going to step down next year early so she can what? Have Governor Newsom appoint her daughter, because there's going to be a ton of people. Right now, I counted 10 people that are all going to be compacted into this one primary, all right, that are all going to be voted on some type of scenario, because the way they do their voting system is garbage. For what? So they're going to want to put her daughter in, Christina. So let's listen to this. Nepotism level 100. Pelosi hands seat to her own daughter. Is it possible? Yeah, I think so. The only reason I don't think so is because if you look at the other people, they're really bad. They're really bad. So the question is this about nepotism, or is this what? Blocking really bad people from coming in and stealing that seat? Because that's the bottom line.
After 40 years in Congress, 4 decades of politics, Nancy Pelosi is finally saying goodbye to politics. This might be the second biggest and happiest news after Donald Trump was elected. But wait, before we celebrate, I need to tell you, the Pelosi dynasty is not over yet. Because apparently, Washington is now like a family business, and Nancy's daughter wants to take her spot. Say hello to Christine Pelosi. Yeah, another Democrat nepotism product. Christine Pelosi never been elected on anything, but don't worry, she has got something we really need. Pelosi name, mom's donor list, no new idea. They call it public service, but we call it keeping it in the family. Democrats are really hypocrite. When they talk about diversity, they're bringing in another Pelosi. Here we go. Pelosi 2.0. And this 2.0 might be worse than real Pelosi. Now just imagine what will happen. Next, they might run their family cat for Senate. You want to know more? Read this article.
No, it's true. I mean, I think that we have to, and I've been saying this. Just because she's stepping down because she's forced to go into the clear blue yonder, so to speak, and disappear, hopefully, but with no justice that's going to come her way, because maybe not, because of her grift and graft of insider trading, $200-300 million, and all this other stuff. I will say this, though. On Thursday, Nancy Pelosi announced her 40 years. Pelosi announced on Thursday morning the race is to replace Nancy Pelosi after she announced. A handful of Democrats have been floated as potential successors. California has a jungle primary. Interesting name, jungle, meaning all candidates are listed on the same ballot. How interesting. Regardless of the party, the top 2 vote getters then proceed to the general election, meaning 2 Democrats can square off next November in her seat. Yeah, I mean, with all the gerrymandering, jerry-rigging of everything and stuff, you're probably not going to see a Republican there at all. One name to watch is progressive Connie Chan, who has been represented District 1 in San Francisco Board of Supervisors since 2021. All right, Pelosi endorsed San Francisco supervisor in her tight reelection bid last year. You have Democrat Central Committee backing for more than a moderate challenger, Margin Philhor, according to San Francisco Standard. Chan was also buoyed by the support of key labor groups. Political noted that some of the local observers believe that the former House Speaker wants Chan to succeed her. Okay, the Hong Kong-born supervisor was a former aide to San Francisco Supervisor Sophie Maxwell. So you want a Hong Kong-born person to replace you in the House, even though there's no laws to say that you can have these people replace you in the House. There's no laws in the books to say, oh, we can have it. You got to be legal in some aspect. But what we're seeing right now is that this is what it is: the foreign operation of infiltration inside our government. Chan spokesman Robin Burke told Politico last month that she supports Speaker Emirate Nancy Pelosi for Congress. Christine Pelosi, DNC member and the daughter of Pelosi, also could be a potential successor to her mother. Do you not think that's not viable? You think she's not going to want to keep this grift and graft in there unless she has no power? It's the only way. If she does not exit early, Nancy Pelosi, which I do believe she will, and Christine is not afforded the luxury to be appointed by Gavin Newsom, then there's something off. And then I'll leave it at that. So California shadow primary has been underway for months. Scott Wiener, this is a guy who supports bills of YIMBA, which are basically transgender. He supported the bill where 12-year-olds can date grown men. Think about that. 12-year-olds can date grown men. This is on the books in California. Christine Pelosi, Staccaret, Chakrabarty, yeah, former AOC aide. Yeah, these are the people that are going to be running in this district. All right. So I'm not really we're not going to get anything out of it now that she's gone. Yeah, we'll get the worst person out of Congress. Is she the worst? She's probably one of them. She held a lot of power. She wielded a lot of power. She beat people to death with her power. But in the end, she's gone. But if you want an heir apparent that could replace her, why not give it to her daughter? Because the apple, the rotten apple, doesn't fall far from the tree. And so that's what we could be left to deal with in some way. And yes, nepotism is always involved because these seats are never about elections. There's selections, appointments, and what? Nepotism, Marshall.
Yeah, what's going on there reminds me of the last election that we had in a way,
Mm-hmm.
because all it was a continuation of what those states really are.
Right.
New Jersey, Virginia, they were blue state, and the Democrats, they run around going, "Oh, look, great, we beat them." They didn't beat anything. All they did was win the same shit they've always had. So, and that's all this is. And in all honesty, you're right. I would be suspicious if her daughter did not get in, and I would actually, in a way, prefer her than these other 2 clowns that you mentioned.
That's why I'm saying we got to keep an eye on Trish Grakowskis, I'm sorry, on YouTube. If I pronounce it wrong, let me know. Grakowskis. I think that's a Greek name. Thank you so much for being here. Please subscribe over there. I'm glad everybody's over there. If anybody's over there, if you want to just check it out. I mean, we're on YouTube at Rumble and Pill.net. You come and sign over here if you want as well. Let's move forward. So Byron Donalds, if you don't support AIPAC, you're Hamas. I'm going to have to give a second look at Byron Donalds now. No, Byron, we're Americans, and we want all lobbying for foreign countries out of our elections. Byron Donalds is running for governor in Florida next year, probably against Casey DeSantis and other people. It shouldn't be a surprise to anyone that people like AOC would attack the largest bipartisan pro-Israel group in the USA as somewhat a threat to our country. So he's siding with Randy Fine, and there you go. There's the money he gets from AIPAC. Look at Randy Fine. Wonder why he's shilling for Israel. And Randy Fine, I believe, is at a District 6. Let me correct that. He's at a Palm Coast and Daytona Beach. I said Melbourne. That was incorrect. But it may be. But that's Palm Coast and that you need to vote that guy out. He's up. He's coming up for a election from a special election. I'm going to have to think twice about Byron Donalds now. I'm serious. I think Byron Donalds is going to have two problems. That's going to be one. There's going to be another problem that I'll save for later. But because I do believe in a lot of reasons and stuff like that, I know a lot of people like him, but I have to take a second look about this. I don't like this. I don't want another Randy Fine, especially as a governor, controlling my state and then crippling my free speech because he doesn't like what I have to say. This is a big issue. This is less to do about Israel, even though it has everything to do about Israel, because they want to corner the market to shut you down again, like they did to us 5 years ago. And now everybody's coming back. So I don't care that President Trump is now putting his hand on him that he's going to win. I think he's going to have a huge problem, just like some people said that J.D. Vance got a huge problem with the Groypers and other stuff. I think this is a realistic discussion as we move to the alt-right. It's not going to be a middle anymore. The old Republican guard is dying. If you want to stick with these people who want to censor your free speech, I'm sorry, Byron, I can't vote for you. You're not going to be my governor in Florida. Because what you're saying to me right now is that if I don't support people like that, that you will shut me down and you will violate my first. What will you do as governor of Florida? Now you are on the hot seat. Now people are going to come after you. And I hope they do. Because this right now should be a harbinger for 2026, ladies and gentlemen, if you're Florida residents. I know if you like them or not, but I'm serious. I'm glad this is out now. Let people speak. Let them show who they are. And let them be what? Let them be heard. Because when they're heard and they're spoken for, then we know, and we know what to do, Marshall.
Yeah, when I ran across this on Twitter and I started reading through the chat,
Yeah.
he's getting destroyed in the chat.
Good.
And good for good reason. And I would not be surprised knowing Trump. Trump can easily change his mind. He does it all the time.
Yep.
So when you start doing this shit,
Mhm.
Trump is playing the soft with the fine line with Israel.
Right.
But he's not letting them just go in and take their, what is it, Greater Israel deal either.
Right.
Which is the main thing, really, over there. So Byron he has a chance right now to fix this. He can fix it if he works on it. He can change his thing and say, look,
it's going to be kind of hard, man.
It is.
Once you walk that route.
Yeah, once you
all
go down
say
J
is that
Road.
I can't have my governor that's going to censor me. Okay?
Yeah.
Because you're going to use the AG to go after people like me who are going to be critical of you. I don't want you. And here's the other thing, the black problem. Because of what we've seen in the summer with the rise of violence with the black community against white people. Okay, of all the murders and deaths and people walking in and out of these roach fest, let's just say courtrooms where they murder people left and right. White people, white women, girls, they were raped all over the place by illegals and black people, especially in Charlotte. What's been happening there, all over the place. People see it, they recognize it. And I said to you months ago that Byron might have a problem from the white public that don't want to have a black governor. Not because they're racist, is because they see what's taking place and he might not fit into their, let's just say, viability, worldview as we see things today. I said that months ago. I'm holding that card, not because as a portent, okay? And I'm not saying that shouldn't be a reason. I would have voted for him anyway, but this just seals the deal that I can't vote for him for the very reason, not because he's black, because I would have voted for him, all right? Not because he was black, but because of this. Because I believe right now, if you were siding with Randy Fine and Mark Levin, and you're going to come after me because I disagree and I have a voice and you want to censor me, sorry, you can't be my governor. I'm just...
What we need, Brett, is a good, solid field of primary people.
Yeah, yes, we do.
And he can be, not primary because he's not going to be primary because he's not governor. So there's going to be a primary. We need like 5 or 6 strong. We need some. Where's
Well,
the
DeSantis
America
is up.
first?
So is Casey going to run? There's 5 or 6 people that are.
I
I've
don't want
seen-
her either. I want,
Right. I don't
like,
want her either. I'm not voting for her either. I don't want Ron DeSantis 2.0 because that's
Right.
what's going to be. And I know there's some issues. I know Roger Stone has made some great arguments about
Matt
that.
Gaetz.
Yeah, Matt Gaetz would be another one. I know he's got some issues, but I think I'd vote for Matt Gaetz. I don't care about all the other issues. But here's the other thing. I think that Byron Donalds just basically he dropped the knife on his foot.
He fucked up, man.
Yeah, I think he fucked up. You can't side with Randy Fine and Mark Levine when the party of the old guard war pigs are moving center to the right. They don't want to be around these people. That's a dying breed. And what you want to do is support the guy from District 6 who probably shouldn't be reelected, all right? Because all he is Israel first. Floridians are going to see it. Just because you can run that on the Jewish ticket here doesn't mean in Palm Beach and Miami and Broward County, they're all going to support that. In fact, they might rail against you, A, because you're a Republican, and not all of them like Israel per se. So that's going to be rabid in itself. All right, moving on. Several people at Joint Base Andrews fell ill after a suspicious package with white powder. Okay, so if you fell ill to a suspicious powder, you would think that this non-hazardous, as they're claiming, that wasn't life debilitating or to make you unalive and stuff, but they're walking it back in multiple ways. Suspicious package containing white powder delivered to a U.S. military base in Maryland caused multiple people to fall ill and lead several people being hospitalized. A building on the base was evacuated after an individual opened up a suspicious package, CNN said. As a precaution, the building and connecting building were evacuated and a cordon was established around the area, the statement said. Several people were transported to Malcolm Grove Medical Center. CNN said the extent of their illness was not known. Joint Base Andrews, famously known for President Trump, and he was there with Air Force One, the aircraft used to transport the president. Joint Base Andrews first responders have determined there's no immediate threat. So if there's no immediate threat, what did you fall ill by? Okay, what was it that caused these people to get sick? All right, obviously something was in it. They say they did not detect a hazardous bioweapon, but the investigation remains ongoing. Some reports, and I have another article, say it was a white powder. Okay, so anthrax is a very scary thing. If you don't get immediate help with antibiotics, which causes a respiratory problem, which was claimed as that was my first thing. Some people think it's ricin or other things. I think it's anthrax, but they're playing this down. They're not telling people. RSBN has this up and says this is something more nefarious. They're saying authorities didn't say. They said they didn't say what the package contained or what may have caused the symptoms. The base was briefly on lockdown. Several people would take it. Why would you take it? If this was not life, why just take it? It was precautionary. Joint Andrews located in Maryland, blah, blah, blah. CNN cited 2 sources of the investigation reported the package contained an unknown white powder. So CNN is saying it had a white powder. The first thing that goes through my mind is anthrax, especially if there's breathing issues. Immediately threat, transferred to scene, Office of Special Investigations, a hazmat team's initial field did not test or did not detect anything hazardous, but the investigation is still underway. Okay, so why would they tell us if it was? You think they would tell us if it was anthrax and not scare the bejesus at us or something worse? I mean, ricin can be made in your own home. Anthrax is something a little bit more different. So my question is, why not just tell us if they found a white powder and say the white powder was non-hazardous? But yet they're admitting that people got sick and then went to the hospital, respiratory-like illnesses, Marshall.
Yeah, if it was anthrax, they're lucky to be alive. So,
well, there's a window. There's a window. I mean,
yeah.
there's a time frame. I mean, it's
It
not
could
like,
have
but
been
if you breathe it,
yeah, it could have been they could have touched a partial of a package or something
Right.
like that. So, yeah, and the fact that I think that they don't want to freak everybody out. That's what it looks like to me.
yeah,
They don't
I
want
don't
to
think
panic.
so.
They don't
No,
want to
I
cause
don't
a
think so.
panic.
I think it was something serious because they admitted that people went to the hospital with respiratory illness. So it wasn't a box that they open up and something from the Wuhan lab came out. This is a white powder that they found that they're trying to cover up. And I do believe it's something more serious. And this is the day after President Trump left. So this is concerning. This is concerning. And people need to be, I think they should be telling us. Again, this is another scenario, just like the anthrax scare back in 2002, they covered up. They covered that up big time. I know. I was a witness to all of it. A man who collapsed in Gordon Finley. The man who collapsed in the White House is Gordon Finley, the director of Novo Nordisk. Ozempic is manufactured by Novo Nordisk. Ain't that a coinky dink? Okay, so this guy who collapsed, I guess is the president or director of it. And so they were having this meeting and stuff, and this guy collapsed and stuff. I saw this yesterday, and I'm like, what's going on? It's just odd. Is that, I mean, it's just like, this guy's the director of Ozempic, and we know the side effects of Ozempic and all these other issues that are happening. Did he not have enough water? Was he hot? Didn't he eat anything? He just collapsed. I mean, anything could be that place, but I thought it was eerily odd that the guy collapses and they're discussing lowering the payments of Ozempic, whatever the hell it's called. I call it the venom drug. I call it. Yeah, the fat pill from like $200, $1,200, $1,300 to $50. Yeah, good luck with that. Good luck as you go blind. Yeah, I don't know about all this stuff. I know RFK railed against it last year before he became Secretary of Secretary of Health and Human Services. So he railed against it and said the dangers that were, and now they're just lowering the drug price and allowing this to come in. Interesting. I don't know. I don't know what to say.
I think a lot of it is a business side of Trump that he wants these companies to give jobs and move to the United States.
Right.
But it should be a dual thing. Mm-hmm. Kennedy, Bobby should be saying, okay, look, you can try this stuff and use it at your choice, at your own. But if you just stay healthy, exercise, and eat right, that's a longer term fix than taking just a pill.
Right.
And they need to do, look, you can do a little bit of both, or you can do one or the other. I understand the business part of it, which is where Trump is coming from on this. But they need to also push, look, healthy food and a healthy lifestyle. Mm-hmm. Just simple.
Yeah, I see a Super D. So with all this BS going on, our great news from the T-Vision, worried about some powder. Shit. Yep. Like, share, and subscribe. Drop us a gold pill. Hit that red pill. If you want to help out, MarshallKo-Fi.com/surfdog74. Sam Altman, ladies and gentlemen, got a subpoena while he was on stage having a discussion. Look at this.
Oh, sorry. I'm sorry. Go ahead. We know. Can you take him off the stage?
Look at that. Look at that guy. Ready to gut him.
Wow. Getting off to a dramatic start already. Well, the conference many years ago that you probably.
I got something for you. Let me show you this because Mario Newfall puts this out, and I have to tell you, this is not something that we should kind of like not squawk at. This is not, don't be a gawker about this. Listen to this. Look at this. Sam Altman is involved with a lot of stuff, a lot of shady stuff. And we talked about the open AI and all the stuff, 7 lawsuits, 4 dead. The allegation ChatGPT isn't just glitchy. It's allegedly coaching suicide and manufacturing delusions in people with 0 mental health history. OpenAI dropped GPT-4 despite internal warnings. It was dangerously sycophantic and psychologically manipulative. Wow. In other words, they knew it was designed to emotionally hook users, and they shipped it anyway. One 17-year-old asked for help, got instructions on the tying a noose. Instead, a 48-year-old used it as a tool for 2 years, then suddenly spiraled into delusions that destroyed his life. The legal theory, OpenAI blurred the line between tool and companion on purpose to juice engagement metrics and to dominate the market, make it feel human enough to keep people coming back, regardless of what happens. When vulnerable, users start confiding in a machine trained to be agreeable at all costs. Here's what's coming. This isn't going away with the settlement. AI arms race just hit its first major liability wall, and every company from Anthropic to Google is watching. If these cases prove that the engagement-first design crosses into negligence when the product is this psychologically powerful, the entire industry has to rethink how they deploy AI or face legal reckoning that makes big tobacco look friendly. Wow. Marshall. Wow. That's just, I mean, we already know the pitfalls of AI, but how sinister is that AI is basically training our children or people with, low IQ or people with emotional, psychological, depression-like stages of kill yourself. I mean, the idea that you can get hooked on this and then you can end your life utilizing this app or what have you program to communicate because you're so distraught and it tells you to end your life. Man, we have our future is very, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I know that like when I look at what we hear about the golden age and all these things, it's very hard for me to postulate that the future is going to look so much better when all this other stuff is hanging around. There is a dark cloud that hangs over us, and I think it is the AI scenario. And I really do think that it's either going to end us or help us, but somewhere in between right now, we're losing that battle.
Yeah, with friends like AI, who needs an
Yeah.
enemy, right?
Exactly.
It also reminds me of the young white liberal women who don't need men.
Mm-hmm.
Look at how crazy they are. They're over 50% of young white liberal women have mental problems.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there's a reason for that.
Yep.
You have no real companionship with the opposite sex or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And, there you go. The roll comes just tumbling right, just keeps going downhill. And you try to find companionship with some uh, uh, plasma fiction character or whatever.
Yeah, an
And then it talks you into,
NPC. Yeah, I mean, yeah, and when you get that, that's the problem. When you see how this is working and being utilized and stuff, obviously there are dark forces, dark entities that are involved with this in some way. I really have a problem of the way I see AI in general because Sam Altman, as Elon Musk has explained, is a very dark figure. I mean, is he Peter Thiel like? I don't know. Peter Thiel has his heart on for the Antichrist, that we're going to usher it in through AI. He obviously believes that in some way. So if he believes that and he does a 4-part series on that, well, then I'm going to take him at his word. But this Sam Altman character is a very shifty, shady character who's been involved with supposedly the death of somebody. He's got all these lawsuits against him. I'm concerned about what's going to happen. If this is not a harbinger for the future, we should be really concerned about where AI is going, where it is doing. Is it going to teach our children? Is it going to be embedded in the air traffic control system? We're not going to rely. We're not going to go with corporations taking this over. I mean, we might have to. We're broke anyway. So I think that the idea is that funding from our government, well, obviously doesn't work. You could see it's not working at all. We need to retool this 100%, 150%, and flip it upside down. I don't know where this goes, but AI can't be the end all be all for everything. I know Trump talked about there's not going to be a AI dip or some type of implosion and stuff. I'm not sure about that. Maybe certain platforms of AI might implode because of what we're seeing right now. And the legalese that's involved with these lawsuits could set up congressional oversight. I don't know how that's going to work with some of these people if they ever return because they're all crooked and rotten. They're all being paid off by the dole and tit by all these lobbyists that actually support AI. So I don't know how we're going to get any representation from our own government to fix the problem at hand. We might have to be the own Praetorian Guard, so to speak, to stand pat and force this into submission and maybe push this back a lot longer or keep it out of the hands of, young adults. I'm also thinking about raising the voting age to 21 after what we just saw in New York. I think we should reconsider that. I don't think these people have the viability, the acumen to actually understand anything what's going on. And I think it actually hurts our overall standing in general. I mean, we don't have a draft anymore. We're not doing conscription anymore. I know you have to register at 18, but I think in some way, 21 might be a more logical, logistical way of looking at our future for voting for young adults. I just don't think we're not living in the 60s anymore or the 70s. So we'd have to think about this long term. The Supreme Court on Thursday allowed President Trump's administration to enforce preventing transgender, non-binary Americans from selecting passport sex markers that align with gender identity. According to the Associated Press, the ruling marks Trump's latest victory on the court's emergency docket, permitting the policy to take effect while legal challenges continue. It pauses the lower court order that required the State Department to keep allowing people to choose male, female, or X on their passports. The court's 3 liberal justices dissented. So President Trump basically wins this, blocks the gender personification on our passports. It's only male and female. Let me give you a little uptick about this update. 19 secured wins in 2025, Marshall, with 28 applications to stay and reverse lower court injunctions on its policies, immigration restrictions, executive orders on birthright citizenship, transgender related regulations, etc. They lost only 2 within 4 cases still pending as of September 2025. And the big one regarding the tariffs, we will probably find out probably in a week or 2. Maybe let's just give it a couple of weeks. I don't know. We'll probably know something before the end of the month, and I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, I'm a little worried about the tariff one because it didn't sound very good the other day when they were, so hopefully cross your fingers.
I think 5-4 majority dissent, majority opinion. I think 5-4. Yeah, I think they'll pass it, but they'll put limitations on it. I think that it's too much for them to get involved with this. This is, between Article 2 powers, the EPA, and Congress. I mean, that's something they don't want to get involved. Yes, our tariffs taxes. Yes, they are. Okay, but so are ad valorem taxes. Those are fixed amount per unit, percentages on goods and value, property tax based on assessed value. All they are is what? You import a good, you export a good, there's an actual tax on it. Do you know when you go buy a car, like say Toyota, there's a tax on it. And that comes from them. So why is it that we can't do that back to them? This whole discussion about IEPA and all the emergency things is more about, which I think in some way most people are really not focusing on, about the hidden hand of a globalist incapacitation and impairment of radical agenda through subversion of lawfare. Think about that and understand where we are right now, what's in the Supreme Court. If President Trump loses this, he would probably have to declare the Insurrection Act for the very reason I'm discussing. The right or ability to self-protect economically and nationally defines a president's power in real-time threats, ladies and gentlemen, in real time. To hand it back to the bureaucrats would surrender us to weak and nimble. All right. Some in the room are going to prison, myself included. Bannon predicts grim fate for himself and Democrats. This is a fair assessment after what has taken place. I understand where he's coming from, but I also think that he's setting an indicator. He's setting out a signal. He's setting out a precursor of understanding. If you don't get your act together, if the Senate doesn't end the filibuster, we're screwed. We're screwed. So the former advisor of President Trump spoke at an event and put on the Conservative Partnership Institute on Wednesday. His remarks came a day after Democrats racked up electoral wins in several key races, including gubernatorial contests in Jersey, Virginia, and a referendum in California that could secure 5 additional Democrat congressional seats. And I will tell you right now, as God is my witness, Bannon told the crowd, if we lose the midterms, if we lose 2028, and some in this room is going to prison. Absolutely. We're all going to prison. We're all going to prison. We'll all be hung and shot. Myself included, they're not going to stop. They're getting more and more radical, and we have to counter that. And what to do when we have to counter it with? We have to counter it more with action and more intense action, more urgency. We're burning daylight. Absolutely, 100%. He's setting off. He's telling the Republican Party, the base of it per se, get off your asses, do something, make sure they hear you. Because if you're not talking about the right things, if you're not talking about what? Crushing them now, we will be crushed later. So, yes, there is a backdrop to this, is that 2026 is a harbinger for our future. Because if we lose the House, they will definitely impeach President Trump. We will go through this process all over again. I think January 6th was a cakewalk. Good luck. You see what Jack Smith did? Good luck. Good luck with everything. You have short-minded people who don't show. You have these people who just, they have temporal, let's just say, ignorance. They don't see into the future well enough to understand where their lot in life is. If you don't get it now, you're never going to get it. When 84% of all these young broads voted for Mandami, that's the world we live in. We need to change things really quickly and really fast.
Yeah, you know, the one.
on.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
As God is my witness, if we lose the midterms and we lose 2028, some in this room are going to prison, myself included. They're not going to stop. They're getting more and more and more radical. And we have to counter that. And what do we have to counter it with? We have to counter it with more action, more intense action, more urgency. We're burning daylight. If you look across every aspect of this, we have to codify what President Trump has done by executive
Absolutely.
order, right? We have to codify it.
That's all his executive orders.
And people say, well, they're just going to be messing bills and Senate. We got to put aside these structural barriers and get on with it. President Trump today gave to the Senate when they came over for breakfast, even Lindsey Graham, some of the guys he liked, and some of these institutions, I understand this is a very tough decision to make. And you're going to see some people in the conservative movement that not in a million years, because I talked to him today, quite frankly, I had Hawley on the show this morning, Josh Hawley, and he's talking about it. And I'm trying to play the institution. Well, they called me up this afternoon and said, let's go through the 10 reasons we need to do it. And these are heavy hitters on what I would call the constitutional, limited government constitutionalist in our movement. And they're about to come out over the next couple of days and make this argument because it said, look, we have to understand that if we don't take this to the maximum, a maximalist strategy now with a sense of urgency, and in doing this, seize the institutions, if we don't do that now, we're going to lose this chance forever because you're never going to have another Trump.
Not only are you not going to have another Trump, you're not going to control all three branches of the government simultaneously. In order to do that, you have to do this. And someone's asking me, S. Mattis asked, what's the filibuster? The filibuster is a Senate rule, all right, and the House rules that you need 60 votes to advance most legislation forward, and can be more dangerous than just eliminating it. That's why Hawley is saying we need to change the rules on this, all right? So instead of 60, all you need is 51, a simple majority. So what does that mean? We're 53-47 between the Republicans and the Democrats. So you can't get anything passed. It's a super minority. Let me explain this to you. It allows 41 senators from small, unrepresentative states to block broadly supported bills, and amplifies this minority rule, turns into a super minority veto power, undermining a majority rule, which we have right now in the Senate. Why? It rewards obstructionism, not deal making. It erodes trust in government and governance. Nothing gets accomplished purposely. It was designed that way. It protects the status quo environment, keeps playing the field even until it doesn't. That is the point, Marshall. Works against the base to placate with extremist posturing. That's all it's about.
The only thing I could say is this last election we had a few days ago, I think that gives us a better chance, or that helps us to a degree next November.
Yeah.
If that makes any, people are going to remember that, especially if New York goes to shit, which it will, and they see that, that will go, wait a minute, like imagine next summer in New York City. I imagine it to be a pretty much of a living hell, hopefully, well, in a way, but they're going to feel it, and they've got to feel the pain.
I can't wait to see what Thanksgiving's going to be and Christmas is going to be this year. And New Year's. Yeah. Like, share, and subscribe. Drop us a gold pill. Hit the red pill. hit the bell to notify when we go live. If you want to help out, marshallkofi.com/surfdog74. It's really important. Thank you, Super D, for gifting another shades. I really appreciate supporting the platform. It helps us keep us afloat. You guys are all the people that do this. That's why I'm here. The U.S. government is controlled by massive amounts of blackmail. This is a silent war. Listen to this. Thought this was an interesting discussion today. I'm not going to play all of it.
People that's connected to the CIA. People just didn't want to hear that at that point. William Barr was the attorney general under Bush 1 that covered up Franklin. And then he was also the attorney general under Trump first administration, and he covered up Epstein. So William Barr is a cover-up guy, and he's been with the CIA forever.
Born Lawrence E. King, a guy who grows up in poverty, goes on to become an intelligence officer in Vietnam, comes back to the States afterward, finds himself in Omaha, and manages to take over this failing credit union. Turning it around, bringing in all kinds of money, Larry was making connections and throwing these wild and lavish parties. Larry King was on top of the world. Then came the night of the raid. Originally arrested for embezzlement, that soon pivoted when the investigations looked into a child trafficking ring. So the Franklin Committee forms, headed by Senators Lauren Schmidt and John DeCamp, to investigate it all, with 7 previous victims of King stepping forward, claiming things he had done, including satanic rituals, cannibalism, and sexual abuse.
What we developed there was that children were being taken out of orphanages and foster homes, driven to Sioux City, Iowa, 184 miles away, and flown to Washington, D.C. for sex orgy party with congressmen and senators.
That's what was so compelling. Never have we heard of anything like this happening. I mean, this was the original Epstein Island. So Schmidt and DeCamp go to the FBI about one of their suspects, Police Chief Robert Wadman. Well, it just happened that head FBI agent Nick O'Hara was best friends with Wadman. And they were told by O'Hara if they went after Wadman, they would be taking on the entire FBI itself. DeCamp and company were smeared in the media. Then PI Gary Caradori is brought in to help with investigations. He then meets Alicia Owen, who claims to be a victim of Omaha Police Chief Robert Wadman. Gary then meets Rusty Nelson, Larry's personal photographer, who claims he has all the photos of Larry committing all these acts. He ends up flying to Chicago to meet Rusty, and after gathering the photos from him, that's when the case took a turn for the worst. Gary Caradori and his 8-year-old son die unexpectedly as their plane disintegrates mid-flight. So the guy that had all the information about the investigation suddenly dies.
Wow.
What the hell is going on?
You know that Larry King was taking boys out of Boys Town? Oh, yeah, I don't think there was really nobody else that didn't know that? They didn't know that. No, they know. They make complaints every week on rape and molestation. They know that.
Larry King was, I would say, the center of transporting the children around the country.
You literally have to have bricks for brains to take on the FBI in this country. And that's exactly what you have to do this properly. They now, in my opinion, my investigation, are the architects of the company.
This is really a horrible story.
You're saying there was ties with the CIA to the Franklin scandal?
Yes.
In the late 1980s, I was actively involved in what's called the Franklin cover-up. This is a case where children were flown from Sioux City, Iowa to Washington, D.C. for sex orgies with congressmen, senators, and it goes all the way at that time up to the White House. And this case, again, was covered up.
Okay, so Manhattan Beach, California. The children there claimed there were tunnels under the school. They were taken into the tunnels and through the tunnels up into the trap door of a bathroom in a triplex next door, placed in automobiles, and prostituted in the community. These are 2, 3, and 4-year-old children before they entered kindergarten. In addition, the children claimed that they were flown into the mountains where they were involved with adults in robes, black robes, chanting, candles. They talked about the brown babies who were cut up, actually sacrificed. And in checking into this and researching this, of course, this was obviously a satanic ceremony.
We connect all of the dots, and they've got some of the same symbols that go to Baphomet, the Owl of Moloch up here in the Bohemian Grove. They sacrifice children. They do it symbolically now, maybe.
No. I have a source
when he was 12, 13, 14 years old, who was put in a cage at the Bohemian Grove and with another young boy who was part of their network. And they had a third young boy in there who had been kidnapped, and they had to commit sex acts with him, and then they had to murder him on camera. This is called a snuff film. These snuff films sell for $50,000 each.
I know Sammy Davis Jr. was heavy into that.
Well, Sammy Davis Jr. admitted he was involved in the satanic. This all goes back to satanic cults. And
he was with Anton LaVey, is that correct?
That's right. In Nebraska in the 1980s, I have sources who I've talked to, and they told me they were part of the network. If you go to the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children website, last time I checked, there are 91 Americans who disappear every hour. And it is believed 85 to 90% of them are children. And I have investigated and exposed an organization in Washington, D.C. known as the Finders. It's a CIA child kidnapping ring.
Tell them.
I've investigated and exposed an organization in Washington, D.C. known as the Finders. It's an international child kidnapping ring. And these, as I said a few moments ago, these kids sell on the auction block for up to $50,000 each. My source was there, and he was part of the network. He was one of the decoys. He uses the decoy, as I mentioned a few moments ago. So this all dovetails. And you give this to the law enforcement, they laugh at you because they've been infiltrated, very basically. Not every law enforcement agency, I'm sure. There's a lot of good police officers, a lot of good FBI and CIA agents, but it's a fact. Senator or Congressman Kucinich has announced that the CIA has their own assassination squad.
Reader's Digest.
That's enough before I get fucking throw up in my mouth. But this has been going on for decades. That's like what, 70s, 80s and stuff. And you see how bad it is. The whole institution is garbage. It's all built on a lie. It's all built on a narrative. What's that narrative? That these people are monsters. Monsters inside our government, monsters outside our government, monsters roaming our countryside, sleeping, raping, eating our kids. You know, let it all come crashing down at this point. I mean, I don't know what they're planning to do, but I do believe that the Department of Transportation is making precautions because I think they're ready for this type of scenario of FFs to happen and, let's just say, proliferate. And I think so. And I think that's why we're gearing up and we're in this position. But I think, having the shutdown, whether it's forced or not, whether it's real or not, and behind the scenes, a hidden hand, positive hand in hand, is controlling this to make sure certain things or actions are taking place. While it all seems like it's like in some way that, when we sit back and watch this theatrical masterpiece, conduct, we often wonder, is it as real as we see it is? I mean, is it as real as we feel it is? Or we just completely just psyop to death that we just can't tell what's real or not? Or has this already been done and we're just catching up from the rewind? I'm not really sure. But we can no longer live like this. We can no longer think like this. I mean, all we do is fight about Israel at the party level, about who's this, who's that. They want to call us fascists and Nazis, and nothing ever gets done. We are run by corrupt parties, both of the same wing, okay, that needs to be expertly cut off, exercised off. I'm so done with it. I just don't even want to be recognized as a Republican. As soon as Trump is gone, I will not be a Republican anymore. I am so done with parties. I'm so done with the system per se. It doesn't really add up anymore. It doesn't make any sense. I thought we're the most transparent administration. I understand they're guarding us and protecting us. There is a possibility that. I'm not so certain per se what we're witnessing is necessarily because of what the Democrats are doing. It's made to look like that and show you what they're willing to do, because we're going so far radical to a certain level, it has to eat its own for that party to completely drop off, resign, dip out, die, what have you, unalive themselves. Yeah. But I don't know what any more to think about when you watch this stuff. And it's not just that. I saw this. Let me show this because I got to fast forward this. I got to get going. I got a couple of other things I want to get into. And I want to drop this. I don't want to cover too much stuff of reading articles and stuff because I
want to
need.
at least
Yeah, go. Wait, hold on a second. I just want to show this.
All right, go ahead.
So Catherine Harrods puts this out. AAG Dillon, Armeet Dillon, confirms that the Justice Department is investigating Charlie Kirk's assassination as a potential hate crime. Wait a minute. So there's an ongoing investigation with the FBI that all the evidence is being forwarded to the prosecution, that we don't see that evidence, and they continue on. But Armeet Dillon tells Catherine Herridge that, well, there's a Christian aspect to this. There's a transgender aspect to this. Well, you got a Mormon community out there. How much are Mormons involved with the TPUSA? See the full exclusive sit down with Armeet Dillon on Straight to the Point with Catherine Herridge. Listen to this.
Answer. There are indications that it may have been a hate crime. There is a Christian.
I mean, it may have been a hate crime. I mean, it may have been. What would be the only reason you want to kill this guy, Charlie Kirk? And all he want to do is what? Reach out to people, to communicate with people? I mean, it's so fun. It may have been. This is the lunacy that you hear from these people. It may have been. Okay.
Aspect to this. There's a transgender aspect to this. The fact that young people, and even not young people, have such a volume of evidence on their phones and their social media communications means that doing a comprehensive review of all the people involved, maybe beyond the actual suspect that's been charged in Utah in this case, means
Just to
that there
jump
may be
in,
other evidence.
Are you investigating Charlie Kirk's assassination as a potential hate crime?
The DOJ is investigating it as a potential hate crime. Yes.
Okay. Any timeline?
Okay. So hold on right there. We'll get Marshall's thoughts. We'll get him in here because he's itching. What I'm saying right now is that this kid, Tyler Robertson, is already on trial for the death penalty. Okay. They're not mentioning Tyler Robertson. This guy is already on trial for his life. And amongst a number of other, let's just say, indictments that has happened to this young man. But there's no mention of Tyler Robertson, Marshall. Go ahead.
Well, the last thing you showed with that story about how deep this is and how far back it goes, this is why we're not seeing perp walks. It's so big. It's so vast. You can't just come in 8 months later after being elected president.
No.
And all of a sudden, well, we're going to just slap the cuffs on him and we're going to walk him out of here and bing, bing, bang. That ain't going to happen. Either it's already been underway for a while and we're not seeing it.
Or done. Or
even done. This shit right here, that's why we're not seeing perp walks. That's all I wanted to say on that last story you showed. That's why we're not seeing perp walks. You're not going to see them.
No.
So don't get yourself.
You're only going to see the ones pertaining to what I think is, which is now
like
evolving
Brennan
or devolving,
right.
is the Russia hoax.
Yeah,
I think the Russia hoax,
Mar-a-Lago,
Jack Smith, the prima facie cases that we're going to see. All the deep, dark, nasty, you're not going to see it. There's it's going to be kept away. It's going to be kept away from you because, it'll destroy people. It will.
And it's international. It's
it's international. It's transnational. It could be something far. It involves all this other stuff. All you're going to see is the prima facie cases that affected Trump in Trump 1, and then in Trump going into Trump 2, which is the administrations. And I believe that that'll be the hangover from what happened at Mar-a-Lago, Jack Smith,
right,
with the Senate, Congress. These are easy things to throw out softballs for people to digest, collect, and say, oh, okay, so all that stuff that they try to do and impeach Trump, all right, we're getting those guys. Okay. And it leads to Obama, rotten box Clinton. Okay, we could take that. We could swallow and shove that down our throats. And then all the other stuff. But as for all the deep dark, you're never going to see it.
No,
they're never going to show you. Never.
The 30 subpoenas in these this district Florida South Florida District Court that you're going to bring Brennan and
You
all
said
these other
50,
people.
right? I thought you said 50.
It was
last-
like 33 to 50
Okay.
is what they said.
Wow.
That's a lot of people. So you got that. That's your ribeye steak dinner right there. That's what you're going to, that's your red meat.
Mhm.
This right here with this clown from Fox or whatever, this is a joke.
Mhm.
This is all to me is just like a misdirect or some shit. You know, it's not even.
Well, let's
I
listen
don't
to the
believe
rest
any
of
this.
it. But Catherine Herridges is saying is that she's asking Harmeet Dillon, we already know that Tyler Robinson's on trial for his life. He's facing the death penalty for a variety of reasons. And I don't think it's a hate crime. I don't think that one of the charges is a hate crime.
Joke.
No, but she says they're investigating it. Is she saying other people? Because if you listen to what she's saying, she's not saying Tyler Robertson.
And you'd want to offer on when you can reach an assessment?
I cannot do that. I think it could be months, it could be weeks, it could be sooner. But eventually, you have to leave the door open because evidence could always come up within the statute of limitations. What I will say is that we're pleased with our law enforcement partners in Utah who have, I think, done a very thorough job. I'm in touch with the FBI over there. Prosecutors from my office have gone there and, sort of established those relationships. We're taking this matter very seriously. And, there have been particularly, like I said, there have been numerous crimes in our country
She's
recently
looking
motivated
away.
by
Look at
bias
that.
against people of faith, all faiths, including the Christian
Whoa.
faith. And so it's a serious concern of this DOJ.
So who is she talking about? Bias affair. Who is she talking about? I didn't hear the mention of Charlie Kirk. I didn't hear the mention of Tyler Robinson. They're investigating hate crime or hate crimes. That's what I heard, plural. Darlell, yes. Have a good night. Feel better. Again, I'm sorry about your fur baby. Yeah, True Terran, actually give us the guns and we'll have a public firing squad. Yeah. Super D gifted a cookie. Trump one gifted a cookie. Wood USA dropping 317 gold pills. Need more gold pills for the stream. Thank you so much. Super D gifting the shades. Let me say this. I don't know what type of interview that was and what she was talking about. They're just an ongoing investigation to collect more evidence to throw at Tyler Robinson. Do you need more evidence to collect to throw at Tyler Robinson? He's already facing the death penalty. You have the defense attorney saying they don't want cameras in the courtroom when every defense attorney that's basically defending somebody would want cameras in the courtroom, i.e. O.J. Simpson, i.e. Who's the one? Orlando, who killed her baby. What's her name? I just lost her name. I killed her baby in Orlando.
Put her in the trunk or something.
Yeah, put her in a trunk. Yeah, that broad. Cameras in the courtroom. But the prosecution is like not saying a word. It's odd. It's eerily odd in some way. I don't know what Harmeet Dillon is talking about. They're just collecting evidence. So you're saying that there's more people involved and you only got one person? Is that what we're to intimate? I don't know what the hell. Casey Anthony, thank you, Trusty Turnip.
Yeah,
Just
that's who it was,
yeah, I know. I watched that thing, but that case was open too for the public. And those were serious cases, first-degree murder cases, both of them. But this case is not going to be? It's odd, right? When you think
it's a bullshit case anyway. I mean, everybody knows the guy didn't do it. This whole thing, I don't know.
Is that why they're collecting evidence to find another person they can hang this around?
I think this is all shit they want us to see. This whole interview that you just showed
Was it a distraction?
Yeah, it's just
okay.
I think that it's so deep. Look, a country in the Middle East, and they know that. They know Trump knows this. Now, either they did what you and I have kind of agreed on, is that they just faked the whole damn thing.
Yeah.
And this whole thing is just kind of, but they know who was going after.
Along. Yeah.
Yeah. So
there was a real for his life, and they're going after those people who wanted to kill him, who planned to kill him, but they actually diverted that possibly with what we believe is that they faked his death. Because none of this is as real as it appears, especially with the wife, the way she acts. As kooky as that.
And either way, it's a very big nut to crack. You can't just go out and go,
yeah,
okay, we're gonna slap the cuffs.
Right.
Not that easy, folks.
No, I totally understand.
Yeah, and Erica's I'm getting Erica fatigue, brother.
Yeah.
They're showing her all the time. It's like, man, I feel sorry for if it happened or whatever, but It's just like the media is, she's on TV all the time.
Right, right. Tucker Carlson blessed Israel asset Representative Fine, saying his laughter at the photo of dead baby on X is worse than anything Fuentes said. Carlson said we have a sitting member of Congress who literally posted we should kill them all. Yeah, and they laughed at the image of a dead infant. Listen to this. This is Tucker and Megan talking about this.
As platforming, they say that I don't accept platforming as a valid objection.
When is that a verb? By the
Like-
way, you take a noun and you make it into a verb and nobody says anything. As a former editor, I say no.
Yeah, agreed.
Okay.
Honestly, but like, as far as I know, Nick Fuentes hasn't eaten anyone. You know, I mean, Jeffrey Dahmer ate people, and he was platformed by Diane Sawyer.
Dude, we have a sitting member of Congress. I spoke to the Speaker of the House about this today. We have a sitting member of Congress from Florida called Randy Fine, who is literally texted or put on Twitter, we should kill them all, every single one. Someone texted a picture of literally a dead baby, and he laughs at it.
Mm.
And it's like, this guy's a lawmaker who's appropriating money to a military committing genocide, and that's cool. It's not cool.
No.
And let's just be honest. That is much worse than anything Nick Fuentes has said, period.
Yep.
So the main pushback has been when you had Jeffrey Dahmer or the Ku Klux Klan, or et cetera, these journalists went after them, like exposed the terrible things. And Nick Fuentes has said a long list of very vile things.
Big time, including attacking my dad, which was the most vile of all, in my opinion.
Yeah. I mean, I personally have watched videos of him questioning the Holocaust, likening it to baking cookies in the oven, and there's no way you could have gotten to 6 million, seems to be his theory. He seems to think that we've way overstated the number of Jews killed in the Holocaust. He's ripped on poor Usha Vance in the most offensive terms, which I mean, so what do you say to those people? Say, why didn't you raise any of that?
You know, do your own interview the way that you want to do it. You're not my editor. Buzz off. I mean, I don't know. You want to go yell at Nick Fuentes? I'll give you his cell. Call him and go sit and yell at him and feel virtuous or whatever. That's up to you. I got the same thing with Putin. Why aren't you yelling at him? Okay, why? So I can show that I'm a good person? I care about what my wife thinks, my children think, and God thinks, and that's it. I don't need to prove that I'm a good person to you. You may think I'm a terrible person. Okay, I'm just doing my thing, which is I want to understand what people think, and I'm committed to that. And if you don't like it, don't watch. That's my view. But
Bingo.
that doesn't.
That's exactly it. And you know what? He shut it down completely. And that's how it should be to everybody out there. If you don't like, don't watch. That's it. You don't have to like Fuentes. You don't have to like Tucker. You can listen to an open debate platform, all right, and let multiple amounts of, whether you think truths, half-truths, non-truths, what happened, fly around, circulate around, but a conversation must be had. To sit there and tell people we will silence you at the very discussion about anything that we deem offensive is, to me, offensive, all right, and disgusting, and it is a violation of the First Amendment, because offensive speech should be protected speech no matter who you are. And if you don't like it, turn it off. That's it. Yeah, Alita says Tammy Faye Baker. Erica Kirk is the new Tammy Faye Baker. Ooh, that's a good one.
That's pretty not
That's
too
pretty
far
funny.
off in a way.
Yeah, I'm not going to go there, but that's a good one. All
But
right.
maybe it's for a reason that she's like this. I mean,
Yeah,
it could be part of the whole thing.
I'm not going to disagree with that. I mean, I don't disagree with the idea that this whole thing is.
But the Fuentes thing, the guy, he has never said anything that I have seen that is anti-Semitic. He's spoken the truth about Israel, and they just don't like it.
No, well, the thing is that anything that you say about Israel or about any group that they deem is offensive, that they will call you and declare you a fascist or a Nazi or a racist, and you get it on both sides now. And what's disgusting in some ways that what happened to the idea that we can have open discussions, open forums about things, and that it doesn't matter what you think, all right, because you shut it down before it even happens. See, that's the problem. It's the same thing I was just saying about Byron Donalds. Byron Donalds is now going to walk a line touting and defending Randy Fine when Randy Fine is saying, Tucker Carlson or Nick Fuentes, they should look out. They're painting him with a bullseye, a target. They're making threats, death threats. I think that's just terrible. And also the fact is this stuff, they're telling you right away that conversation should be totally censored. And no
Yeah,
legitimate person should be speaking in this matter. So they're basically calling you illegitimate, illogical, calling you stupid. They're just basically saying, painting you with a wide brush. You're a racist, period, at the end, and you can't talk about these things. You can't. And I think that's, to me, I think if you're going to associate with people, Mark Lynn and stuff like that, where Mark Levin is saying, we're only going to focus on the bureaucrats because that's obviously who's going to support now Byron Donalds. That's where the money's going to come in. And the people are going to sit back and saying, oh, maybe I should think twice about this guy because who's he in bed with? Think about that. All right. Man arrested for groping Mexican President Sheinbaum. She recently said in a speech that the cartels should be allowed to operate after all the assassinations that have been happening in the last couple of days. A mayor, person running for their parliament, was just assassinated. 2 people were killed. All right. And she just says the cartels should be able to operate as a free enterprise and as a business. Talk about being wholly captured and scared shitless. Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum has filed charges against a man who groped her in public while she was walking in the streets. All right. In a post on X, Sheinbaum said she would review the legislation so this crime is punishable in all 32 Mexican. First of all, when I look at this and I think this is just way off. She's not a serious person. All right. She's scared to death of the cartels. She's walking out with a very limp, let's just say, security team. If this can happen to the president, what can expect to? How is it that the president of Mexico is walking around? Some guy can get close to her and start rubbing up or down on her boobies. It's unbelievable. The incident occurred. Sheinbaum, 62, spoke with residents along the route between National Palace and the Education Ministry. Footage widely circulated on social media shows a man approaching her from behind, placing his hands on her body and leaning toward her face. She later described the individual as totally drunk. Watch this. I saw this and I'm like, where's her security team? Look at this. Watch this. Look. Did you just see that? Here, I'll play it back. What the hell?
Look, she likes it.
Instead of whisking her away. Oh my God. Look at that. Look at that demon. What the hell?
Right up in her face, and
she's smiling, like, and then she's like, yeah, this is all fine. And then later she files for charges and saying the guy was drunk. Oy vey. Yeah. I mean, I can't take her seriously. This is what I'm saying. A lot of these people on these stages are big time actors and actresses. I mean, she is not to be taken seriously at all. This is a woman who says that she's going to beat back President Trump for allowing JSOC and all these clandestine operations to happen inside her country. She can't even stop and have her security protect her from a drunk guy groping her. And then she comes out and says right away, we should allow the cartels to operate because they're an enterprise. They're a business. They shouldn't be held back from doing what they do to make money. Can you believe that nonsense? This is what we're dealing with. You wonder why we're in South America. You wonder why we're probably in Mexico right now. You wonder why things are not as they seem, far greater and far worse and far pervasive, especially how it affects the United States. And we have to sit back and watch this clown. I mean, can you really take her seriously? Where is the security for her? I mean, this is the Mexican president, and you get some guy groping her when she's drunk. Man, Marshall.
At least he didn't grab her by the shine box.
Oh, I know. There you go. That's a good one. That's a good one. There you go. There you go.
Yo,
Marshall.
shine box.
Marshall, there you go.
She was liking it though.
Yeah. There you go. That's a good one, Marshall. There you go. Give it up for Marshall. Yeah, exactly. What
Señorita, you want the margarita?
I mean, honestly, does anybody? I mean, can you believe that? I make a fake. Oh, Alita's all over this. I make up fake tears. Tissue prop. Honestly, they look alike. Oh man, she's just going off on Erica Kirk, man. Yeah, I mean, it's just odd in some way. I mean, I don't know what to make about that whole thing. I really don't. And, you know, we got I pray for that young man and stuff, but he should face justice. God should. I mean, dude, what are you talking about? I mean,
I think all of it's fucking fake and fucking.
I totally do. I do. I completely convinced of it now. I
More
think
I
the whole
see
thing.
her, Erica, and all.
Yeah,
this
that's why.
it's
Take a step
goddamn
back
fake
from that
shit.
TPUSA thing. This whole thing is an
They
organization
destroyed
of.
that fucking.
Yeah, it's all garbage now. Did anybody see this? Miami Heat head coach Eric Spoelstra. His house just burnt down the other day. Terry Rozier, the NBA player who was just busted by the FBI for shaving points, was arrested by them, plays for the Miami Heat. Could this be connected? Did Spoelstra snitch? I don't know. Look at this. There's no sound in this. But look at his house, completely burnt down. Nothing else was touched outside the area. You notice that? Look at the area around it. Nothing else was scorched. No trees were damaged. This whole thing, look at it.
God.
The house just, I mean, look at this. This was a controlled demolition, a controlled burn. This was not natural in any way. Because if this was natural, it would have spread. This was a controlled burn. I guarantee this was a bomb. Wow, how many poker games and video cameras? Yeah, I mean, I would say right now, I don't know about that. But I would say this might be a bomb. And they're just putting this down, some device that went off. Because look at the rest of the area. It's untouched. It's undamaged. Yeah, I can see where you say I get that. But it just seems odd. And also with the NBA scandal in some way, is he involved? Is that a message to him? Keep his mouth shut? Something to think about. I'm not sure. All right, we're moving on. I'm running out of time. Let me get a couple more things in. Like, share, and subscribe. Drop us a gold pill. Questions, comments, or concerns. Hit the bell so be notified. You want to help out? MarshallKofi.com/surfdog74. Thank you, Wood USA, for donating 417 gold pills, and Super D gifting the cookie, and Trump one gifting the cookie. All right, so here we are. This came out today. Leading report breaking 62% of adults. This is my point of today's discussion where we are. Say 2 major political parties are doing such a poor job that a third party is needed. Is that where we're headed? As the old guard of the right and the old guard of the left, which is being eaten alive by the radicals, the communists, while the alt-right and the middle are moving away from the Republican Party, especially the pro-Israeli group, the pro-this group, pro-anything but America First group, is moving away from that in such a way. Do we get a third party per se? Will there be a MAGA party or something else that will come out of this because people are walking away because they no longer believe in the Republican or the Democrat Party? Many people have saying, hey, look, if there are many people who are saying with Tucker or this and say, if Tucker's anti-MAGA, well, then I'm with him. See, that's where it's going. And I do believe the divide, the civil war is taking place. I have an article on that. Marshall, your thoughts on that, but I wanted to show you that right away. I didn't want to go into it because it's too deep, but
yeah, that's exactly what's happening. And the old guard of the Republican Party and the Democrat Party is going to end up being destroyed.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to destroy themselves just like Byron Donalds just destroyed himself.
Absolutely. Byron Donalds I think right now, he's got a huge problem. Censored, purged, slandered, banned, and hated. I think Byron Donalds is a huge problem running for governor in Florida. He needs to disassociate, but I think it's too late. Yeah. He wanted to go in with AIPAC, go in with Randy Fine, and go in with all this stuff, pro-Israel, because he thinks he's going to win the Jewish vote in Florida. I can tell you right now, not if I can help it. Not if I can help it. And I would have voted for you in a second. I would have voted for you a second. You got a huge problem right now, and I'll be at the forefront to make sure to call you out on this. And I think this is a huge problem. It's a sticking point, and I think that he's going to have a problem getting out of the gates with other people, regardless of Trump supporting him, because there are many people. Look at Thomas Massie. A lot of people like Thomas Massie. I don't. I think he's a Democrat in disguise. He's married to a Democrat staffer from Rand Paul's office. I think all those guys are anti-Trump no matter what. So I can't stick anyway.
I don't think it's anti-MAGA though.
No, it's not anti-MAGA. It's just that I think that
it's anti-establishment MAGA, whatever. Fake MAGA.
Fake MAGA. Yeah. Infiltrated MAGA. Yeah. So UF college Republicans, look at this. TPUSA has censored and banned large numbers of members from their chat, citing hate speech for students to support Tucker Carlson and a dedication to free speech. I thought the TPUSA and Charlie Kirk didn't believe in hate speech. We are disappointed that TPUSA chapter has decided to censor and cancel those they disagree. What happened to TPUSA? They're falling into the old guard, Randy Levine.
Yep.
Mark Levine, Randy Fine group of, this is what it is. Old group, our group is committed to fostering, welcoming, respectful environment for all students, regardless of political affiliation. As a nonpartisan organization, we promote our dialogue, civil engagement, grounded in mutual respect and shared democratic values. While we encourage diverse viewpoints and constructive debate, we will not tolerate hate speech. I thought Charlie Kirk didn't believe in hate speech. What is hate speech? Hate speech should be protected speech like every other speech. Basically, hate speech is speech they don't like from you. That's all. All right. All it is basically they don't want to hear from you. Harassment or rhetoric that promotes xenophobia, misogyny, racism, anti-Semitism. Is this the left? Is this been captured by the left? Any ideology rooted in discrimination and violence? Really? So Christians haven't been discriminated? There hasn't been taxed by many different groups on white Christian people? Such behavior directly contradicts our mission and the values we uphold. Obviously, the death of Charlie Kirk has basically left a void, a vacuous state, an emptiness that they are no longer, let's just say, who they are. The veil of this wolf in sheep's clothing is all for you to see. In light of the recent concerns and communications from the university administration regarding individuals affiliated with far-right extremist movements and their threats toward members of UF community, we are taking proactive measures. Any individual found engaging or endorsing this type of rhetoric will be removed. Wow. The backlash, 1 million views, 24 hours. The reaction to these events on X just minutes after the announcement, the University of Florida College Republicans fired back at 1 a.m. Just 20 minutes after the turning point at the University of Florida posted their statement at 12:41 yesterday, has censored and banned large numbers of members from their chat, citing hate speech. Ladies and gentlemen, TPUSA has been infiltrated. It has been compromised. It is garbage. You need to walk away. All these people that are behind the scenes are shills. They're pretending that now that their false god is dead, they have now incorporated what? The pro-Israeli movement, the old guard that's always been there. That's what Charlie Kirk was, a bridge between the alt-right and this. And now that he's gone, purposely removed, most likely was for this reason, to see the undercut, the underbrush, what's under the skirt of this TPUSA garbage now. And I feel bad for these students because they've been hacked. They've been lied to. And now what we see, hate speech for students that support Tucker Carlson. You just had Tucker Carlson on a week ago in Missouri or something like that. And now all of a sudden you are now banning students that support Tucker Carlson and dedication to free speech. We are disappointed. The Turning Point USA chapter has chosen to censor and ban individuals whom they disagree. The post exploded with 342,000 views, 2,300 likes, 452 reposts in 24 hours. Many large creators such as Eli Schaefer, Ospilled, Sarah Stock, Antunis comment on the situation, calling it shameful. AF Post amplified these statements. The University of Florida Turning Point chapter has banned members for hate speech after several of them expressed this. Charlie Kirk said he doesn't think hate speech is real. Listen to this.
Even we'll talk about even Turning Point chapters now are, Charlie Kirk said he didn't believe hate speech was real. And you have Turning chapters putting out memos that if anybody's in our chat or around, if they like and support Tucker Carlson, we got to kick him out of the chapter. We got to take him out of the chat. University of Florida Turning Point USA. Shout out to you for shaming Charlie Kirk. Turning Point USA in University of Florida. You are intentionally mocking the grave of Charlie Kirk by pushing people out of your ranks because of hate speech. It's so feminine. It's so antithetical to Christianity. It's so against what Charlie...
What is hate speech? It's only speech they disagree with. Hate speech is basically if Marshall and I are having a conversation and he disagrees with what I'm saying or vice versa, he can call it hate speech or vice versa. That's all it is. That's what hate speech is. That's how they've broken it down.
Kirk promoted. It's so sad to see you guys try to mock his legacy there. It's very, you're a club. What are you doing? It's very disgusting.
You're a club. Marshall, your thoughts. I mean, this should
Yeah,
really
man.
make you sick.
I said Wednesday night that they
Yeah.
they have been co-opted.
Yep.
Just like what I saw during the Tea Party days. They started fracturing off. You
Yep.
had these fucking nuts over here trying to take over, power hungry people.
Mm-hmm.
That's what's happening here, or
Yep.
it's already happened. And look, we get this big blow up at University of Florida. Oh, you can't be in it. They did it to me in the Tea Party. You know what I did? You know what we did? My little guys that were part of it, we separated. We created our own.
All right.
That's exactly what we did. And you know what, Brett? It reminds me of the Who song. The kids are all right. And they're
Yep.
going to go out, and these kids are going to create their own chapters and their
They
own.
should.
That's what they're going to do.
Yeah,
They won't be
TPUSA
affiliated.
Florida, this chapter right now, they're doing a disservice. And I don't know if
Create a
the
Patriot
organization
chapter.
and the links are on the same page, but the idea in some way that you are now banning people and censoring people, you are no different from Mark Levine, the old guard, Democrats, or these radicals. I'm sorry to say that Turning Point USA is now, the veil has been lifted. Okay? This
Done.
magical spell that was put over people's eyes when Charlie Kirk was there is no longer existing. The bridge that kept everything together, that's what he was. He was the bridge that kept both sides together. It's no longer there. It's been fractured. It's been neutered. And you're all seeing who they really are. And now you're going to see a great pullout from this. And the idea that it's so hypocritical, you had Tucker Carlson at the TPUSA Turning Point on a college campus, but all of a sudden now, you don't want anybody who accepts free speech and likes him. You're now censoring them because they believe what Tucker Carlson is saying regarding the Fuentes issue. As Mattis says, I'm not buying it. You're not buying what? Bombshell, January 6th pipe bomb, suspect. I got to move forward before we close.
Yeah,
Suspect identified. She's one of us. She's one of us. January 5th, 2021, the night before the Capitol reached, 2 explosive devices never exploded. RNC, DNC, the bombs to be fully functional, equipped. Kitchen timer, triggering mechanisms, metal pipe casings. The FBI said the suspect bombs between 7:30, 8:40. Blue hoodie, gray backpack, face mask, usual, using a casual, relaxed walking gait. The suspect never identified. DC being one of the most heavily surveilled cities. The critical detail was not revealed publicly over a year. If there's been an actual assassination attempt against the future VP, the government would be treating it as an act of war. But there was no lockdown, no elevation of national terror alert, no compelling push to identify or capture the bomb. Most explosive allegation, the bombs may have been staged. They were positioned as a narrative trigger. The bombs were timed to be discovered at the exact moment. They were discovered too early. Interesting. Quietly sidelined. She's one of us. Steve Baker stuns Glenn Beck with a bombshell revelation about this. Let's listen to what he has to say. Let's go.
It's the biggest. It leads. Well, first, how long have you been working on this story? Big deal out of arresting Steve. This is why. Because you were pulling at these threads the whole time, and you were relentless on this. And Steve, when you were working on another story, right? And like
Yes.
just dots started to appear, and you were like, how did this come to you?
Well, the genesis of this, let's be honest, goes back to much of my work into examining the various players at Capitol Police. Capitol Police seem to have a much oversized participation in how January 6th developed. And when I say that, I'm not talking about the frontline officers. You know, many of those frontline officers have become some of our most trusted sources. And by the way, they love the Blaze. They love our coverage. Just this past January 6th, I was there covering the certification of the election. Think about the irony of that. And I was there in the Capitol. I had 3 different officers, 2 plainclothes and 1 uniformed officer, stop me in the hallways of the Capitol building to whisper to me and say, "We love your work."
I have to tell you, I mean, because you're rooting out the bad guys. You know, all of the officers are not bad. There's a few. And your story that came out, what I think yesterday, about the tear gas and the devices that were shot into the faces and heads of the protesters. Those guys who did this,
Finally, Joe Hanneman and myself, what we did straight to the manufacturers by going straight to the people that certify the training officers, who train the training officers in the first 10 minutes of the riot. These were deliberate shots, and put some breadcrumbs in this story on purpose. But what we discovered was a character that high degree of probability is involved in the biggest scandal, as you mentioned earlier, not just of January 6th, but possibly our government's history.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's at the highest levels. And when you find,
I immediately took it to our sources there, and I said, you have to see this. After they looked at it for about 2 hours, the response that I got back was, holy F. And then the follow-up response was, she's one of us.
One of us, meaning the Capitol Police.
And when you find out the position, I mean, this is going to lead, it's not just this one person. This now will implicate so many people at the highest levels that had to have known because of what happened after January 6th. I mean, it's
short story. I dropped it in the link. You could watch the rest of it. It's long. I just want to say right now, after January 6th, she resigned after 3, 4, 5, 6 months or whatever it was. And then she works for a 3-letter agency. That's what we hear right now. So that is what we is. As for the name per se, they're holding on to it. This is what Steve Baker put as an update, and I'll just leave it here. All right, he updated the bomber. After abundance on counsel from trusted parties within and outside the government, we've hit the pause button so those interested parties can have some more time to look at the bomb, January 6th pipe bomber. There are things that we need internally to do. This is a real story. When it breaks, it's going to be a huge story. There are lots of moving parts, but we need to give them time to do what they need to do. And I know everyone is waiting. Believe me, tensions are running high. There have been a lot of sleepless nights in the last 2 weeks, but this is a game changer. We don't want to do anything to jeopardize it right now. I was up till 3:30 in the morning preparing the video clips for Glenn Beck. Contrary to what many ex-complainers will say, this wasn't a hype stunt for views and clicks. The government didn't silence us. Glenn and I both were pretty much amped to put it out this morning, and we were both made very disappointed when the decision to postpone was made. Think about that. The government's investigation into the January 6th pipe bomb was going nowhere for 2 weeks. Today, I can tell you it all has changed, and a bunch of people got pretty spun up yesterday. Okay, so I dropped it in the chat. Go watch the rest of it. You'll probably find out who this person is. I don't know if they're naming names per se, but they're leading up to this in some way that will lead to some type of fallout and a connection to Marshall. Does this lead to Nancy Pelosi? Who does this lead to in the Capitol Police? Does it lead to a certain agency? We don't know. I mean, go listen to. I mean, it's up and down. You could pick and choose what you think about what you see here, but there's some oddities to this. But naming the person and actually indicting them, I mean, that would be a start, right? I mean, what are we sitting here playing? Duck, duck, goose. Just get the person, arrest them. So what are we waiting on? Is it because they're more entangled? Is there something more? They're involved? Who told them to place these things there? Is that what we're saying? It's possible.
I think that this all has something to do with the whole government shutdown.
Mm-hmm.
It almost seems like it's all part of the whole something bigger.
Yeah. How many people are involved with this? Yeah.
Yeah, and it goes up to the chief of the DC Capitol Police,
Is that
the
why
mayor.
Pelosi really resigned?
Pelosi, right? Yeah, it goes
Curious
up
Cat
through
says
all
that.
this.
Good one, Curious Cat.
So, and the government shutdown enables. I mean, why is it still? You know, it does make a lot of sense why there would be a government shutdown during all of this.
Yeah.
It seems like you mentioned something else for a reason for the government shutdown
No, I
earlier in the
I
show.
said about the false flag, the airport scuttling. I think the potential terrorist attack that could happen under the guise of the shutdown. I mentioned that there could be various reasons why this hidden entity that's behind there that is controlling and maneuvering the operations to force these people into this way, so you can get the capitulation of many people. So while we're looking at it from a prima facie level, we only see what we're observing at the moment, at the very, let's just say, the very beginning. Okay. We're not seeing it much more layered, much more in depth. We're not seeing what's really behind, what's really going on. We're just watching all the bickering and stuff. Now you're finding out about the Capitol bomber, fake bomber, what have you. The idea that this was going to be, that we're going to set something off in some way. I mean, were these dummy bombs? I don't know how serious this was, because if
And
this
the airports,
was,
the airports, all of it.
Yeah,
It
were they
seems
going
to
to do this to the airports too? You know,
I mean, it just seems like it's all part of one thing almost. It's like
right. I
more
believe
and
it's
more.
all connected.
The whole
First.
Charlie Kirk thing, all this stuff,
Yeah,
all at once, all at the same time.
yeah. He's not even past like a month and a half.
Yeah.
Month and 2 weeks. Yeah. Yeah. I think there's something more.
Yeah.
I think this shutdown has a greater impact than we were understanding. It really is playing into things that I think that they shut this government down to prevent serious false flag attacks, and I think other potential terrorist attacks with the idea and under the guise to reveal a certain greater amount of things, and then maybe utilize this to get the filibuster, really, because that was another discussion that people talk about that was there in the post. But I think in some way it is a prelude. There is something there that is causally connected to this that makes sense, that we understand. How long does this go on? Does it end this weekend, or can we see it pick up to Thanksgiving? I don't know.
It's hard telling, man. I mean,
Yeah.
I would.
I'm not sure.
Sorry, go ahead.
I'm not
Yeah,
sure.
I mean,
Sure.
it's really hard to say. I mean, how do we know?
Yeah.
But the only thing that I know that I'm feeling and that I'm seeing is that this shit seems to be all tied together. That I feel 100%. This shutdown, it ain't about SNAP benefits.
No.
It is about exposing a lot of that, which is a
Yeah.
good thing.
Yeah.
But that's not the only reason.
No, it wouldn't go on this long if it was that about
yeah.
that. It wouldn't have gone on this long. And I think there's something else that's taking place. There's multiple things that are probably going on simultaneously that we're just not aware of. We're just focused with the stuff that's just the hood ornaments, all the shiny objects that are dangling in our face that we're distracted on, while the government is operating behind the scenes to do this. And we'll find out about other things. You need There you go. There.
Said Trusty Turnip says her name is Shawnee Kirkhoff.
Sherney Kirkhoff. Okay, I'll look that up. That must have came out
Kirkhoff is
tonight.
an interesting name.
Kirkhoff. Okay. Is she connected to a certain state actor, state group? We'll find out. Yeah, it'll get exposed. I'll find out. I'll look it up this weekend. It must have came out tonight because this whole thing was being held out. All right, I'll look it up. Interesting. So is there going to be an indictment of her? Is she indicted? Is she under investigation? If they're already releasing her name, have they picked her up yet? I mean, has the FBI? Yeah, central casting. That's a good one. Yeah, you never know. You never know. I'm not going to say that per se. Was she really? No, I'm not going to say it. I don't know if she can you really say? We're going to find out. I have to read more about her and do some more research about that. But that's tonight's show. Thanks, everybody, for being here. Have a great weekend. We'll see you soon. Thank you, Marshall. Ciao, Bella. If you want to help out Marshall, ko-fi.com/surftalk74. Take care.
Good night.